when Joe Biden's drinking a milkshake, is that connecting with you?
No, sir, it's not. Not even a little bit. We have Social Security problems. We have all kinds of other issues. We're not taking care of our own people. There's people on the street here that need help. Nobody's working for these people, but we're worried about what goes on somewhere else.
What's happening with the Snickers bars?
I like it.
Why?
Because when people eat together, they get to know each other.
Thanks, everybody. By the way, this stuff is good. You shouldn't take me up on it.
We've got homeless problems where I live in Portland, Oregon. I've got open borders, a lot of things about the economy that could be better. We didn't vote for a president because of his milkshake policies.
I got what we call home black and white. No ice cream, chocolate syrup.
There's two different campaign strategies here in the state, apparently. Donald Trump, big rallies, Joe Biden, drinking milkshakes at cafes. If you were voting in the States, which one would resonate more with you?
Trump. 100%.
Why?
Because he's more for the people, he's more for us, rather than putting money in his own pocket.
Toddy on the town.
I'm so excited to say that. Let's bring in Fox News contributor Joe Concha. Joe, what are you hearing in those answers I got?
You're hearing about a president, Todd, that isn't connecting with the American people anymore. He's not seen as a man who represents them. And it's really the Democratic Party at this point that's become the party of elites instead of the party of the working man and woman. And by the way, guys, you have Joe Biden, who is running for re-election, mind you, who has not held a sit-down interview with any television outlet. You have to go all the way back to October. And that was a cream puff interview with Scott Pelley of 60 Minutes. And then you saw what happened this week, right? We have a sitting president of the United States who says he had a conversation with the president of France, who has nearly been dead for 30 years. He then said he had a conversation with the German chancellor, also dead for several years. And then yesterday, in a patently disastrous press conference, confused the president of Mexico with the president of Egypt. The special counsel also revealed he couldn't remember when he was vice president, nor when his own son died. This is the beginning of the end of Joe Biden's re-election campaign. Democrats that I've spoken to are in a full-blown panic. The problem is the alternative is either Kamala Harris, who is somehow polling lower than Joe Biden is, and someone like Gavin Newsom, who has a horrific record to defend in California. So that's where we're at this point, guys. Yesterday was the biggest moment of this primary season so far, no doubt, because of Robert Hur's report and the damning things that he said about Joe Biden's mental state.
Yeah, well, everybody's making predictions on the show this morning, Joe. And the beginning of the end is your prediction about President Biden's future. The media obviously reacting to this report. Here's a portion of what some of the members of the media had to say yesterday. Watch this.
If you want to get into the age thing, because this is, let's call it what it is. This is ageism snuck into a report clearing the person of any wrongdoing.
The man is 80 years old.
He rides a bike.
But he is the age.
Yeah, I think some people, covering Biden, you realize he does have a temper. His whole staff, his allies.
Mexico? Where did that come from? I mean, that's the only thing anyone's going to remember from this.
Well-meaning elderly gentlemen. Is anyone going to make the point that Donald Trump and his misstatements or his actions are well-meaning?
A mixed reaction, Joe, but also a lot of it was running cover for him, calling the report ageist.
Well, it's not, because it was based on the interviews that Joe Biden did with the special counsel, and we talked about all the things that he couldn't remember in that. I'm shocked that I just saw Jeffrey Toobin back on the air at CNN. I mean, I thought he got the, shaft, a while ago.
Yeah. Continue.
And there he is. So the fact that they're defending Joe Biden's mental state when 76% of the American people, by NBC News' poll zone standards, don't think he has the mental fitness to be president now, let alone 5 years from now when he would still be president if he won re-election, guys.
Yeah. Super Bowl weekend. I don't want to answer anything from HR, Joe, so keep it clean in our last 15 seconds. Quickly, who's your prediction? Super Bowl.
We got the San Francisco 49ers 27 and the Kansas City Chiefs 24. I'm rooting for Brock because Carly is rooting for Brock, and she's biased in that sense.
Fox and Friends right now.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.